一带一路正积极向拉丁美洲拓展。通过石油和中国合作密切的委内瑞拉，作为一个重要据点，引来了不仅仅是国际社会，还有观望是否要签署一带一路合作协议的拉丁美洲国家密切的关注。那么一带一路到底会给拉丁美洲带来什么机会和挑战呢？我们跟著名智库美洲对话的亚洲拉美项目主任 Margaret Myers 玛格丽特·迈尔斯聊了一聊一带一路和拉美关系。哪个总统上台会对中国和委内瑞拉的外交关系造成任何影响吗？迈尔斯认为，无论谁上台，跟中国保持密切联系的意愿都会很大，反而是国际社会在观望。如果新政府诞生，委内瑞拉希望能够积极拓展外交，不要完全依赖在中国这个投资者身上，多进行多边贸易合作。目前，中国正积极将更多的拉美和加勒比地区国家纳入“一带一路”。不久前，反对派领袖瓜伊多也表示了对“一带一路”的欢迎。迈尔斯认为，无论是否有更多的拉美国家被纳入计划，中国在拉美国家进行的发展，从人际网到经济融合，再到基础设施建设，其实都与被纳入了“一带一路”差别不大。所以，中国跟委内瑞拉的关系到底是否健康？委内瑞拉的天价债务是不是给其他考虑与中国建立更紧密贸易联系的国家敲了警钟？迈尔斯认为，合作到底是否能达到双赢，要考虑的变数太多。至于现在委内瑞拉要如何走出这个困局，变数很大。要不就是马杜罗自己下台，要不就是军队介入，而这个过程中会造成多方的损失。目前，中国政府是完全不愿意挑边站了。关于更多中国和拉美关系的详细分析，请听下面我们的完整对话。
In terms of the China-Venezuela relationship, there are some comments on how, even though there is this new interim president coming to power, it's not going to negatively affect the relationship because ultimately China wants oil and Venezuela can provide oil. So do you think the opinion on this relationship is right? Do you think it's actually a beneficial relationship, or do you see any concerns?
I think that there will be efforts on the part of a new government, to the extent that one emerges, to work with China to try and renegotiate the terms of some of the loans that China's given to Venezuela over the years to improve the benefit of those loans for Venezuela. But, I think in the medium to long term, whether it's an opposition government or a Chavista government, will be interested in establishing a strong relationship, maintaining strong ties with China, not just because of the oil dynamic, demand and supply considerations, but also because China is an important investor in Venezuela in terms of foreign direct investment, right? And could be an even more important investor in Venezuela, especially to the extent that Venezuela develops into other industries and sectors. And so, it's critical that China, or rather that Venezuela, maintain a relatively strong partnership. It'll take some time for trust, I think, to be developed between the two countries under a new Venezuelan leadership, but certainly I think there's a lot of interest on both sides in maintaining good relations.
And if Guaido eventually comes to power, do you think he would in some ways affect the two countries' relationship as Maduro has maintained with China now?
I think that there would be a relationship on different terms. Hopefully not the same sort of clientelistic relationship that we've seen with Venezuela, or the sort of it strikes me that Maduro has sought Chinese finance with a degree of desperation in recent years, and one would hope that a new government would be able to turn things around within a number of years in order to not have that same sort of situation and to be able to engage a wider variety of lenders, not just the Chinese, but, multilateral banks and other forms of finance.
So do you think if Guaido steps into power, the two countries' relationship would be strengthened, or because oil has been such an important factor in maintaining the two countries' relationship, do you see each side shows any commitment? Or
I think that the oil will continue to serve as a sort of tie that binds the two countries together. China continues to be interested in Venezuela as a source of oil and in equity investment in Venezuela. But I do think that the quality of the relationship could be somewhat different. I don't know that it would be better or worse, but I think it would be on somewhat different terms. And ideally, there would be a wider variety of stakeholders engaged in decision making with China, as opposed to just the presidency, right?
And in terms of the Belt and Road Initiative, there are observations that China is expanding into Latin America with this Belt and Road Initiative. What do you think would be the outcomes of that? Do you think more countries, Latin American countries, would benefit from that, or do you see any potential concerns during this infrastructure building?
I've yet to see a real effect. I know at this point 13 countries have signed Belt and Road Cooperation Agreements, but it strikes me that the way in which China is engaging the region has changed very little over the past year since all of these countries have signed. I think there's been an indication of, more interest in some infrastructure projects, but the extent to which those projects actually materialized remains to be seen. So I don't know quite how the Belt and Road is going to affect Latin America. If anything, the Belt and Road strikes me as a sort of repackaging of a lot of the activity that was already happening in the region.
You mentioned that you see very little change in the way China approach Latin Americans' infrastructure development. What exactly do you mean?
Well, China's been interested in infrastructure development, including cross-regional infrastructure development, for many years, predating Latin America's inclusion in the Belt and Road Initiative. So I don't think that this, the Belt and Road Initiative arriving in Latin America will have a major effect on the types of engagement that we're seeing. Already, we're seeing, China engage in all sorts of in the various right, the 5 links. This has been going on for almost a decade. People-to-people connectivity, financial integration, infrastructure development, all of these elements of the Belt and Road Initiative have been ongoing in the region for many years.
Do you see this kind of interactions as being more beneficial to both, or do you see, for example, because of how China is doing business with Venezuela, leaving Venezuela with a lot of debt and long years of commitment to pay back, do you see this is actually a warning side for other countries that may potentially be included in this initiative, or do you think it's something else?
I think Venezuela is something of a warning to other countries as they engage with China. But, the Venezuela situation is not a win for China, and it's not a win for Venezuela. And to lose something as a result of this relationship. And so, ideally moving forward, both China and Latin American countries will be interested in striking increasingly mutually beneficial deals, right? And being increasingly wary at the same time of risk, the risk associated with non-conditional loans and the risk associated with political and economic volatility in the Latin American region. So my sense is that the extent to which China's engagement is beneficial depends on the project that we're talking about and how it was negotiated and the conditions that, that are associated with it, and the quality of the project overall, monitoring, evaluation of the project, auditing, all of these things that keep projects on track and ensure high quality.
Mm-hmm. Do you, out of the top of your mind, do you have any examples of like quote unquote beneficial projects that have been developed in Latin America?
Trying to think of some of the ones that have been most beneficial.
Or maybe
I haven't
controversial.
done a lot of study. Or controversial. Yeah, I mean, there are plenty that are considered to be controversial, right? There are it's called the Nestor Kirchner and Jorge Sepernik deals in Argentina. These two dams that have been now delayed extensively and maybe canceled altogether. There's the Cococoto Sinclair Dam project in Ecuador, which has come under some scrutiny because of quality issues and also labor concerns. There are several deals that are in the Amazon region and especially biodiverse areas, and people are very concerned about their environmental impact. There are some projects that have been not particularly high quality in Bolivia, and some bridges and other things that have collapsed as a result. So there are plenty of examples of challenging projects. I think there are probably equally a lot of examples of good, great projects that have been, very beneficial. I just don't have a list of those right now. So some of the port projects, I haven't heard much about any issues there. So I would imagine that even some of the port expansion projects and other things that China Harbor and other companies have done have turned out pretty well.
My final question would be, do you see Venezuela's way out of this current political turmoil, and do you see China has a road in it?
A road out for Venezuela? Yeah, I mean, sure, there are various ways in which the Venezuelan crisis can be resolved. One option is for Maduro himself to step aside, or else I could imagine that there could be some sort of military intervention that could lead to some outcome as well in one form or another. Nothing is going to happen without, fallout, without some sort of consequence for various parts of the population, for various groups in Venezuela. It's a very challenging time. My sense is that China at this point is unwilling to take sides at all, preferring to suggest that the question should be resolved internally within Venezuela. But it stands apart. China at this point stands apart from almost everyone else in the international community in doing so. Although, the policy of non-interference, I think, would prevent China from, in fact, taking any sort of stance until things are resolved.